For some Chicago area residents, what's happening in Ukraine is personal. They've got relatives suddenly living in a war zone, and they're trying to draw Americans' attention to the Russian invasion, including with a rally this afternoon in Chicago's Ukrainian village. Amanda Venicky was there and joins us now with more. Amanda, what'd you see today?
Well, Brandis, among the folks that I spoke with was a man that I ran into as he was circling the area nearby the St. Volodymyr and Oha church in Ukrainian village. He was waving a large Ukrainian flag. He says that he moved to Chicago 7 years ago. And he says a lot of Ukrainians do that because the weather's similar. It's cold both here and in Kyiv, about 30 degrees, give or take, in both cities. He says he isn't complaining, though, about standing outside in that bitter cold for hours today. Says unlike what his family is going through back home, he's not worried in Chicago about bombs flying overhead.
They saw the airports were blowing, they saw the airplanes flying and missiles flying over the head, and the kids woke up this morning and because of the sounds of the explosion. So when my sister called me, I was surprised, and I didn't expect that Putin will do this. Putin, he is not pretty. He has problem with his head, I guess. If he started in 21st century the war, they coming and killing people. That's not how it should be.
Not how it should be. I obviously didn't speak with all of the couple hundred people at this afternoon's rally, but that has to be a unanimous sentiment. They called for, after these early morning attacks by Russia. Now, Pavlo Bandrusky is a leader with the Ukrainian Congress Committee of America, and he says that his ancestral homeland is an innocent, democratic nation, a peaceful country that wants to live by the rule of law, only to be slammed by Russian rockets. Says the country has suffered and survived atrocities before.
Ukraine's people have selected its future, and they selected to live with the West. For centuries, Ukraine has lived under Moscow domination. They know what it's like to live in Russia, live with a Russian oppressor. They chose not to accept that. They chose to live according to Western standards. Democracy, freedom of speech, the rights to have a great economic life and a life for their children and family.
For attacking that, he says Putin should be declared a war criminal. Ukraine, he says, will fight, but it needs help from the U.S.
USA support Ukraine! USA support Ukraine! President Biden promised hard-hitting sanctions. He said, cross the red line, Putin, and we will make you pay. How much more Ukrainian blood has to be shed to make them pay? Now is the time. Unleash the sanctions. Stop the war.
Representatives from the Ukrainian consulate here in Chicago also spoke and called for Western solidarity by cutting off diplomatic ties with Russia and also to come forward with weapons, also humanitarian support. The crowd sang the Ukrainian national anthem, prayed for peace, and chanted, "Stop Putin now."
It's very important how world will react right now, because Putin act himself as a bully, and if bully get hit back, bully stop. If bully don't see any force, he don't understand any reasons or logic. He just understand force. Like if he can get force back, he will stop.
Anatoly and his wife also still have family living in Ukraine. He says nowhere in that country right now is safe. He says Ukrainians can and will resist, and they're not going to make it easy on Russia from a military perspective. But he says that it is up to the West to stand up and make it difficult for Putin diplomatically, economically, and every other way possible.
People may think that it's something that happening far away, and it may be not something they should be bothered about. I had the same feeling till 2014. I never thought that I will have war in my home. I never thought that I will need to worry about how to evacuate my parents from the place where I grew up, and I can say for sure that world will never be the same if Western leaders and all world will not fight back on Russia.
He is calling on everyday Americans to get involved by calling to pressure their members of Congress to put pressure on Russia, also to contribute to ongoing humanitarian efforts. Now, there is another rally in support of Ukrainian sovereignty scheduled for that same location at the St. Volodymyr Church in Ukrainian Village. That is Sunday afternoon. Brandis, back to you.
Amanda, thank you.